Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it.
It just doesn't work. It never works with the camera on. Because then, Kelly, I have to look at you, and it's like...
I know, isn't that...
And I don't understand how your hair hasn't turned all gray.
It's actually got just a little hint of it. It's starting to.
How can you have a little hint? What? I knew Grecian formula came in black, but I didn't know it come in...
Don't use Grecian formula.
You would do so.
I do not.
Come on.
If I did, my beard wouldn't be as gray as it is.
I know. For the longest time, I had my goatee. Everything below my upper lip was gray, and everything above my upper lip was black.
Yeah.
And people would say to me, "Why do you dye your mustache black?" and I would say, and a lot of the time it would be golfing guys or other guys that I hang out with, and I would say, I remember one time this guy Paul, and I said to Paul, and Paul says, like, how do you do that? Why do you do that? And I'm like, Paul, you've known me for 12 years. What about me gives you the thought that I would dye one single strand of my hair? I said, think about it. Like, really, do I look like a kind of guy that barely cares about what he looks like when he gets out of bed? like if I can't be out of the house in 5 to 10 minutes, forget it. The 3 S's, you know? The first one, and then it's shower and shave, and away you go, man.
Yep.
Oh, man.
So this is episode something or other. 240, 241, something like that. And this is the episode where we interview, what's that guy's name? Brad's friend, the professor. We interview his friend, Richard Shirey. And he has
we did.
And he has a trick name. Check.
Check.
Check
Check is for you.
Yeah, check is for you, yeah. I see you finally put a sticker on your microphone there, Kelly.
Yes, I wanted to be a little different.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Since I'm talking into a microphone and people are listening, I figured I'd put the sticker that talks about listening to us, listen to others.
Have you heard yourself yet on one of the podcasts with the microphone?
I have actually not.
Wow, where do you hear yourself?
Yeah,
the silky tones of Kelly, the modeler simply known as Kelly.
Western tranquil sounds of
Kelly.
Modeler known as Kelly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Richard Shirey, who seems like a very nice gentleman, and he has one of those trick names. Because you would keep saying to me, Brad, you'd keep saying Richard Shirey, and then you'd send me the name, and I would think, why is the L silent? Right? Because you're thinking it's Shirley.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'd be like, why is the L silent? And then finally one day I woke up and I went, oh, there is no L. It is actually Shirey.
Yeah. He attends one of the online auctions that I get on a lot, and the auctioneer there always calls him Richard Shirley. Because he apparently sees an L in his name too that's not there.
I know. It's a trick name.
It's not only a silent L, it's an invisible L.
Yeah, it's the invisible L. The Q is silent.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to talk about these live online auctions. I can't hardly wait to talk about those to you.
Okay. Yeah.
I just saw one for somewhere in Ohio. They're selling a bunch of signal and crossing lights and all that stuff. Some depot.
There's a guy out some sort of, I don't know exactly where he is, but he's in Oregon somewhere. And
is that the one that's got all the signals?
No, one of these online auctioneers.
Oh, one of these auctioneers. Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
There was a guy that was outside of Grants Pass, and his house is up on the side of a hill, and the driveway going up, and it looked like a signal forest. He had all sorts of signals from all over the country.
Oh, wow.
Going at it looked like they were growing out of the ground.
Huh.
I think everybody should be required. How about this idea?
What's that?
Let me float it. Well, okay, give me a chance to say it. I only just thought
I'm
of
in a
it.
good mood tonight.
I'm always in a good mood. As you said, Signal Forest. I thought, geez, another guy that's crazy about trains. But how about this for an idea? It should be a requirement that if you're a rail fan, a model railroader, anything to do with trains that you enjoy, you should be required to become part of the AML Nation.
Yeah.
Like
I vote for that.
Yeah, it's not a request. You have to become part of the AML Nation.
Mm-hmm. For your own good.
Yeah, for your own good.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many people out there that are interested in trains. Like, how would you ever meet them all?
That's true. Very true.
Did you guys hear the podcast yet where I went berserk and comparing the NMRA to the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yes. I was just telling Kelly that I can't remember now when I hear stuff if it's from a podcast that while we were recording it or while I was listening to it. It all blends together.
Well,
but I think I think I heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because Kelly was on it.
Yeah.
And it was me, Kelly, Eric Hansman, and Dave Owens.
Yeah, I definitely heard that one. Yep.
Yeah, and at the end, I went berserk in comparing the NMRA to the Toronto Maple Leafs. But then I tried to make the point, there are many, many volunteers in the NMRA that are trying as hard as they can and paddling as fast as they can, trying to improve the NMRA. So we can't ignore that.
No.
Right.
There's many, many people. It's just that the parent ownership of the thing is a complete disaster.
I think they're doing the best they can with what they've got. They're doing more. They're doing more than what I saw in the past. That's
true, but now it's starting to. It feels to me like it's starting to slip away again because again, then I came up with this whole thing about they can't contact new members because of the computer system.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking to myself, well, when the money goes in the bank, what do they think? It's the model railroad ferry that just deposits. You can take the money. You just can't give the service back for the money.
Wasn't there a Seinfeld episode?
There
like
you
that?
go. Yeah, it was about renting a car. And and they get there and they don't have a car.
Yeah.
And Seinfeld's going, you can take the reservation, you just can't fulfill the reservation.
She says something like, "Sir, I understand how reservations work." I don't think you do, because if you did, I would have a car right now.
Yeah, that's so great.
And I'm beginning to think that with the NMRA and this whole, we can't contact new members. They can take the money and they go. I'm assuming that every day or most days of the week, there's money deposited in the account from new members, and I'm thinking, what do? They do a little dance around the office. Oh, look, the model railroad ferry came by again. And I'm thinking, so the money's going in the bank. You can't figure out who sent it. Don't get me started. Anyways, the reason I'm bringing that up is because coming up in a future viewer mail, we got a great email from John Doring, who I believe is the Eastern District Director of the NMRA. And I love John. He's a very enthusiastic guy. And he basically said he's mad as hell. And he wrote this great email talking about all the points that I was talking about. And so I said, John, John Doring. I said, John, you have to come on the podcast. Let's talk about this. What a great email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
And that's why I wanted you. Rapido Trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido Trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
This is on the free channel.
I know, but I did it anyway. Because Bruce is not here.
It's on the free channel, so it's your job to do it when Bruce is here.
I know, but Bruce, I know.
Do you smoke up or something? I feel like I'm doing a podcast with Cheech and Chong or something.
I'm tired. I worked today. Today was a long day at Microtrains.
Can I be Cheech then?
Yeah.
And I had to proofread my boss's speech for the narrow gauge convention.
Wow.
So it was,
He picked you to proofread it?
Well, I'm from Pennsylvania, so he had things in it. He wanted me. Do I have this right? Does this sound good? Yeah,
When is
it's
the
good.
narrow gauge convention? It's coming up, isn't it?
What, 2 weeks or a week? Yeah,
Oh,
week.
wait. I thought you were talking about the N scale convention. If
Yeah, that's the N scale. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said narrow gauge.
He
the
did
last
say
time you
narrow
mentioned-
gauge.
Yeah.
Did I
He
say
had a-
narrow gauge?
Yeah, he had a long day. He was working. Apparently, Brad, he's the only person on the planet that's tired from working today. You're sounding like Scooter. I'm busy. Nah, if you're that busy,
Is Scooter's still on his cruise?
I think so. And I sent him a text today. I sent him a text.
Or did he get put on a lifeboat and set adrift?
I don't know, but I sent him a text today saying, "When are you going past Buc-ee's? Because I'm right near Buc-ee's right now, and over the next few days, so I could go meet him at Buc-ee's." But there was no reply.
No reply. Yeah.
Interesting point. An interesting segue, I guess, into our guest, because the N-Scale Convention, National N-Scale Convention, is in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania this year. And our guest tonight and I are going to be attending that together, is Todd Treaster and his wife are going down as well.
Where's Bethlehem, Pennsylvania in relation to somewhere?
It's
North of
Philly. Yeah, about 45 minutes or so north of Philly, I think, something like that.
Up the Delaware River.
Yeah.
Well, nobody.
Used to be
There's people that listen to this podcast. Robin Felder, who is, by the way, be careful because Robin's part of the local constabulary in Switzerland. So
yeah, but his jurisdiction ends at the Swiss border.
Yeah,
though,
and
right?
if you're ever in Switzerland and you've annoyed him, you're going into the Grey Bar Hotel.
Switzerland's neneutral, so I don't know about that.
Well, just keep annoying him. Just keep annoying him and see what happens.
Then you will know about that.
So I sincerely doubt that Robin knows where the Delaware River is. So you got to always pick major.
The Delaware River is the boundary.
I don't care.
Between New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Okay, so.
And north of Philadelphia on the Delaware River is a town called Bethlehem, which used to be the head plant or headquarters for Bethlehem Steel.
And you grew up in that area, didn't you?
I grew up in Coatesville, which was outside of Philadelphia, west of Philadelphia, between Philadelphia and Lancaster.
When you were there, did you ever have Rapido trains?
You're fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
Yes. No. When I was Rapido Trains back then was another company that made those N-gauge that ran really bad forward, but ran real well backwards.
I know. I asked Jason that once years ago about why would you pick the name Rapido Trains? And he didn't even know there was another crappy company. No, not another crappy company. There was a crappy company.
Yeah.
Rapido Trains.
Yeah.
They were made in Europe too, I think, weren't they? The original ones?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Didn't I just say Rapido Trains there?
We were all I didn't have whatever.
That was my fault. I talked over.
Somebody was running interference.
Oh, okay.
But it was your fast track to model railroading.
Oh, I got something we got to talk about in the wrap up. Okay, we've killed 13 minutes, so let's go and listen to this episode because it's really good. It's with Richard Shirey, who it was introduced to us by our pal Brad the Professor Williamson. That's two L's in Williamson, like modeler if you were spelling it in the British with British English. And that's two D's in Brad, like duh.
It's Brad.
Brad.
Duh.
Brad. Yeah, it's Brad. All right, go ahead, Kelly.
Subway chimes go.
Actually, I think by now we might be using the Drayton Blackgrove one. Oh my God, he did the best Subway chimes go that I think I'm going to clip out, and it's always going to be him doing it.
Oh, that'd be cool. Good.
Subway chimes go.
Kelly?
Anybody?
Kelly?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm not in the mood tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Uh-oh.
Be forewarned. I'm not in the mood for any of your
Shenanigans.
I don't like the word shenanigans. Lately, people use the word shenanigans. I feel like
it's a fun word.
I feel like they use it too much.
How about antics?
No, why is the AML podcast associated with either shenanigans or antics? We have a lot of good interviews.
We do.
And they're not. It's on all.
But we can also have fun doing it by participating in shenanigans and antics.
But I feel like shenanigans. There's like a lack of caring for a lack of or no regard for quality, doing a quality job. I feel like shenanigans implies that the only reason you're here is to screw around.
No.
And I don't feel like that describes us at all.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, come up with a different word.
Let me get the dictionary out. Hold on.
No, thesaurus is one of those us's.
Yeah, you need a thesaurus. So tonight's show, check, mic check, check.
Checkity check, mic.
Check.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah,
where is Mike?
So anyways, our guest is in the green room because we don't want to hear from him yet. But I'm sure Brad has already told him. So this particular show is all Brad's idea.
Oh, so we know who to blame.
Yeah, so for some strange and peculiar reason, Brad thinks that this particular gentleman will be endlessly fascinating. And we'll be able to fill up an hour and a half of airtime just listening to this particular gentleman and all that he has to say.
And if he doesn't, I will never live it down.
Yeah, I don't like that microphone as much as the other one.
Don't you?
No, you got to get closer or something.
How's this?
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
just that boom so the thing's sitting right off the end of your face.
Yeah, it's got to be like right off the end of your face, man.
So if you stick your tongue out, you can lick the cover on it.
Have you got an interface for that, or is it just plugged right into the computer?
It plugs into the computer.
Yeah, you're not going to be as happy with this.
Really?
It's okay.
All right.
It's
Maybe
okay.
get the Scarlet interface.
Well, yeah, but he
do
doesn't.
you want me to switch back to my headset?
No, now there it almost sounded good.
Oh, okay.
They're like there. It sounds good.
I got it moved so that it's
So now you move 30 seconds after Bruce told you to put it off the tip of your nose, then you move it.
Well, it can't happen instantly
Why not?
because you have to like loosen the set screw thing and then adjust it so that and then pull it in. So it's here now.
Thanks, Bruce.
Hey, Lionel.
Looks good, Bruce.
Lionel?
Yes, Kelly.
I'm sorry to tell you, the shenanigans. All I came up with some sort of variations on shenanigans.
Well, like what are the variations?
Well, the word is still shenanigans.
The word is still. You looked at a thesaurus, and the word is still.
Yeah, I looked up and it
shenanigans?
came up with the different words, the shenanigans, but they all.
According to Merriam-Webster, high-spirited or mischievous activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we're not high
And
spirited.
antics is the same thing.
Youthful shenanigans.
Yeah, but that's only part of what we do.
Yeah.
You know, like let me see if I can find it.
Antic. I got antic, which means horseplay. But
Horseplay.
yeah, hijinks, misbehavior, rowdiness.
Well, that's why I don't like the word
buffoonery,
shenanigans because it only implies a lack
fooling
of
around,
yes,
fun
just,
and games.
Yeah, it
roughhousing.
doesn't imply that some of the time we're doing most of the. Here's the way I see it. Most of the time, 90% of the time, this is quality podcasting. Occasionally, we enjoy having fun while we're doing our quality podcasting. But shenanigans means like you're just a useless. How do you spell shenanigans?
SHENANIGAN.
Just like it sounds.
Okay, Well, who's laughing?
It must be Brad.
Yeah.
It was me.
What are you laughing at? Just because I can't spell shenanigans, you're laughing?
SHENANIGANS.
All right, thank you, Mister. I can spell every word on the
No, because
dictionary.
it's right in front of me.
No, not you. No, it's Brad.
He's referring to me.
Yeah, it was Brad that was laughing when I asked.
Oh.
When I asked. See, here's what I got. I got mischiefs, trickeries, troubles, carrying on, pranks, tomfooleries. What's another one for carrying ons? Let's see see what you got to do is go through commotions, to-dos, hullabaloos.
Oh, there's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, Hullabaloo.
That was an Elvis movie, wasn't it? Hullabaloo?
I think
It's
so.
also-
Yeah,
It was also a TV show.
it was, wasn't it? Wasn't it like what kind of?
Hullabaloo. Yeah. music that the groups would play.
Well, see, now there you go. Hullabaloo. The synonym for hullabaloo is noises. That I can accept. Rackets. Yeah, we make a lot of rackets, uproars, clamors. See, shenanigans is not the correct word to describe the AML network.
It's tough to top gibberish, I think, isn't it?
There you go. See, that's what this is. This is authentic model railroad gibberish. Accept no imitations. This is the only podcast where you can get authentic model railroad gibberish, which is us.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
There you go. Exactly.
Oh boy!
All right,
I looked up gibberish. Gobbledygook.
Well, just gibberish doesn't sound so. I don't know. Shenanigans just sounds wrong. Just sounds wrong for me. So okay, Brad, tell us all about your mystery guest here.
Okay, his name is Richard.
While we listen to oh my God,
that's the phone.
Hello. Yeah, he's not here.
Is that your mystery guest's phone ringing?
I don't know whose it is.
Not mine.
It's not mine.
It wasn't me either.
Can't pin this one on me.
Yeah.
Not me.
Not me. Well, we can't hear it. All right.
That sounds like a landline.
Yeah.
Yes. Who has landlines anymore? That's like people that only communicate by email. It's like, Give me a break. Text. All right. So tell us, Brad, let's get back to tell us, Brad, about this fabulous guest you've got lined up for us.
All right. I will tell you. His name is Richard Shirey from Baden, Pennsylvania, just north of Pittsburgh. Basically,
Baden? How do you spell Baden?
Baden.
Okay. Baden, Pennsylvania. I never heard of it.
Yep. It's just across the river from Aliquippa. Have you heard of Aliquippa?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I have. I was in Aliquippa yesterday.
Were you? Okay.
Oh, that's wild. I thought I saw you.
How about Conway Yard? That's Norfolk Southern's major classification yard in the Pittsburgh area. Yep. He lives 2 miles, I think, from that.
How about just north of Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
Yeah.
But he's
just north of Pittsburgh. It's a lot farther north of Pittsburgh than it's near Sewickley. Do you know do you know who lives in Sewickley?
Mario Lemieux.
There you go. Very good.
Thank you.
It's a very fancy neighborhood.
It is, yes.
Okay. What river is Baden on?
The Ohio.
Oh, okay. And then it's not far from there. You get to the Three Rivers Stadium.
Not too far, no.
Nope. Exactly. All right. So anyways, he lives in Baden, Pennsylvania.
Yes. He is an electrician at the Conway engine house. So he repairs the electrical systems, repairs and maintains the electrical systems on locomotives. And
for what railroad?
Norfolk Southern.
Okay. That's a big yard. That's a big yard, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's one of, I think we'll have to wait till he gets, I know it's one of the largest on the entire Norfolk Southern system, but wee'll have to ask him for sure if it is the largest.
I'm kind of curious if he switches out the decoders when they blow.
We'll have to ask him that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's also basically a lifelong model railroader and really one of the founding members of Iron City N-Scale. He's been there. I think it was Pat, then me, and I think Richard came right after I did. It was like within 24 hours of Pat forming the website. We found Richard.
Did he give a personalized note that says "Welcome to the"?
Yeah, since he was member number 3, he got a personalized note from both of us. Yes.
Well, how can he be a founding member and get a personalized note? Like
I was thinking the same. Maybe I'm wrong here, but that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right, does it? Like, how is he a founding member? What did he do to found the Iron City N-Scale?
He was there from basically day one, so I don't know if you would call that a founding member, but.
Well, the mailboy's been here since basically day one, and I hardly would think he's a founding member of the AML.
All right, he's an original member. Does that sound better?
He's
how about an early member?
Yeah, how about an early member?
The early of the earlies, yes, that's right. So yeah, he's been with us since Well, like I said, the first 24 hours, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know exactly what time he joined on the day after, but I think Pat formed it in the evening, and I believe by noon, it was close to within 24 hours. So yeah.
So is that what we're going to do now that you feel like you have a semi-regular spot on the podcast? We're going to chronologically go through each member of the Iron City N scale until we get to 1,000 or something?
Only if that is your desire. You are the overlord.
It's not.
Okay. And the interesting part about him is, we've become known for the T-track layout a lot, but Richard doesn't do T-track. He has his home layout, and he comes to the shows and hangs out, but he has never built a T-track module. But Iron City is about more than T-track, but that's one of the big parts of it. So.
All right. Well, let's get him into the studio here and find out if your friend here is interesting or not.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, Richard, come on into the studio. Let us know how the shrimp were in the green room.
Shrimp was good, especially like the tanginess of the dip.
Oh, really?
Awesome. I don't remember when we started putting dip in there.
Yeah, I don't remember dip being.
That might just be decomposing shrimp.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
They're all past their prime.
Yeah, if that wasn't dip, we may be in trouble before the night's over.
Yeah, you might want to have the Pepto-Bismol close enough.
Yeah.
And the Imodium, all of the above.
Yeah.
What is this we stuff? Has Brad given you the impression that you're now a founding member of the AML podcast or something?
Yeah, wasn't that in the contract that I got emailed?
Oh, I mean, Brad emailed it to you.
Yeah, there are no
It's a
contracts.
takeover.
A hostile takeover.
Yeah, a little experience
The only
there.
thing is, I think Lionel's leaving with his hands up. And you can have it.
Yeah,
It's all yours.
yeah, go for it. The population of Baden, Pennsylvania, and as of the 2020 census was 3,904.
Wow,
Good
that's
to know.
really a big class.
Salute. And it's the former site of Logstown, a significant Native American settlement.
Yeah. Legionville's right next door too. Also, Legionville was right next door, which was real popular during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, I don't think we're interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going on you. This is going in your file, Brad.
Yeah, that's the last we've heard of him.
I'm sure that's a very thick file already.
Yeah. The guy's starting to fill me in. Well, Legionville was a very popular.
Yeah, you've heard of Matt Anthony, correct?
No.
Anthony Wayne.
Oh.
Is that Bruce Wayne's brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the generals in the Revolutionary War.
Richard, have you ever listened to this podcast?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
How many times?
Oh, at least more than once.
Less than five. Less than five.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that it's been like 20 or 30 times, but yeah, there's been a few of the podcasts I've listened to.
Yeah, like less than five.
Yeah, no, it might be a little more than 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Brad. So ask him a question.
All right. Well, how about you?
The Revolutionary War. He knows a lot about it.
Well, we can also talk about the Harmony Society down in Old Economy that they helped fund the P&LE Railroad.
There you go.
I guess tell us how you got your start in model railroading. How did that all begin for you?
Now let's find out why. How did you get started with the Iron City N scale, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Okay, well, hang on a minute.
Oh man,
Were you expecting that some of the questions weren't going to be very good?
Well, he hadn't listened to it but 3 times, so he
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And Brad didn't coach him beforehand.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
exactly.
really disappointed Brad didn't have like a coaching ceremony with him on this whole deal.
I was told not to.
No, you're told not to talk before we start.
Oh.
Brad.
Let's keep in
help
mind
me
this was
here.
Brad's idea.
Help me help you, Brad.
Next time you might want to run one of these ideas past your Scooter or Kelly.
Oh boy, you'd be in trouble.
Oh boy.
Don't do that.
You don't have enough seniority to go directly to the mailboy.
Those two sound like they don't want any part of that because they don't want to bear any responsibility for anything that I try to do.
They are sometimes quick learners. So
Yeah.
So okay, Richard, why did
But
you?
yeah, if we want to go back to your question, there was another guy from Texas. I don't know if we want to mention his name. He might want to remain anonymous. He had like a
hold on. Is this what we're going to do all night? We're going to be like it's anonymous guy. We don't want to mention that guy. There's another guy from Texas, but he might want to.
He's been mentioned on here before, Richard. It's all right.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Steve McEwen. He had a Pittsburgh-based Facebook group. He focuses on the Union Railroad, which I'm interested in the Union Railroad as well. And a couple of the members that are now, like Patrick, who created the Iron City, was a member of Steve's group. And Patrick decided, okay, instead of just overrunning Steve's Facebook group, he would just start his own. And I just ventured over there as soon as Patrick started his own catchy name, Iron City. That's kind of why I became a member there.
So where does Brad fit into all this? If this was because we've been given in the impression this was Brad and Patrick's group.
Yeah.
Yeah. See
I'm starting to. Never mind.
No, go ahead, Scooter. Scooter, I think you're going to make a valid point here. Where you're starting to win.
I'm thinking that maybe Brad's been blowing us a little.
Yeah.
No, I think if you go back through and listen to all the podcasts, I always give Pat credit for being the leader and founder of Iron City N Scale.
I thought the way I always remembered is you and Pat had taken over some other guy's group, which I'm guessing it was Steve McEwen's.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you and Pat decided that perhaps you should have your own Facebook page.
Right, but Pat actually created it. He asked me if I thought it would be a good idea, but he's the one who created the page. Yeah.
So you're the second member of it. Pat created it.
Yes.
So is it Pat and you, or is it just Pat? So maybe we should clear that up, because I've always been under the impression that Iron City N Scale was primarily Patrick Moore and Brad Williamson.
It is both of us, but we aren't the whole thing. I mean, there's lots of we have a group of
who created it. Like, let's get this out in the open.
The web page. Pat created Iron City N Scale. Absolutely.
Well, sure, but
yes.
I mean, I created the AML web page, but it's not just me. It's me, and it's Bruce the Mailboy, and Kelly, and everybody else. I mean, it's like, so this seems to be a very fuzzy point already.
No, it's basically the same with Iron City N Scale. It's Pat, it's me, it's Richard, Mike DeCenzi, Kevin Squire.
Or is Kevin the guy you're always arguing with?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, they don't seem to get along real good.
Yeah, Kevin Squire has poor taste in T-shirts, as far as I'm concerned.
You saw that, did you?
So, all right. So, Richard, so you happen to be along. So, how did you get to know Patrick and Brad? Because they were on this Steve McEwen's Facebook page?
Yes. And I got to know them a little better once Pat created the Iron City, and, we started communicating via that Facebook group. And then, at that point, started planning actual events, attending Greenberg shows. And that's when they started with the T-Track.
Okay. But you don't like but you don't like T-Track.
Well, at this point in time, I'm an apartment dweller, and it's like my dad used to say, I got like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bucket. I'm just completely out of room. If I had a bigger place, I may be tempted into building a couple modules, but at the same point in time, I don't want to have to be tied to a module whenever I go to the train show. One of the things I love about going to the N-Scale weekend in Altoona is just being able to roam around and see what's there, see who's there. Because I know a lot of guys that attend Altoona from a lot of different groups, internet groups like the Railwire. So it's always fun that because they live over in like Maryland and the eastern part of Pennsylvania. So it's always fun to be able to run into them and talk trains at the show.
So if you have a T-track module, you're not allowed to leave the area where the modules are?
Well, you need people to watch over the modules. So yeah, I guess you take time, but I would prefer to be able to just freely roam, kind of like a free spirit.
He needs a podcast.
It does occupy a lot of your time because you have to be there to make sure that the layout's running well, and if somebody needs help, with getting a throttle working or getting their phone connected to the wireless or anything like that, there is, especially when it's a big layout, there's a lot of maintenance type things that we need a crew there just to make sure. But you can roam a little bit, but I mean, Richard gets to come and he basically gets to go where he wants, when he wants. So,
right.
So, Scooter, you may want to rethink that statement of yours. That was kind of an out there statement.
No, I was thinking if you like to roam and not do anything, you could have a podcast and go to a show and just walk around and meet people.
Are you drinking or something?
Oh, man. Yeah, I really am.
So you think that he should have a competing podcast with ours? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, it wouldn't be competing.
No,
out there, no. He would have it on the Revolutionary War.
Jeez. Oh, God.
Right?
You want to keep digging there, buddy?
No,
yeah, really.
I'm done.
You better get back to building that building.
Yeah. Help me out, Kelly.
Start sanding, do some or cutting, make a noise, and then worry about the building.
All right.
All right. So, and you also, so you belong to the Iron City N scale, but you don't want to have a T-track module because you don't want to be tied to the modules when you're there. So, okay. And then.
Right. Well, and a third thing, Lionel, that we didn't get to yet was my work schedule. Up until recently, I worked weekends. My off days were Wednesdays and Thursdays, and there's not a whole lot of train shows that go on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And the worst part about working for the railroad is we have to schedule our vacation a year in advance. And a lot of times you don't know what the train shows are going to be next year whenever I have to schedule my vacation in September. And they're like not flexible at all on, okay, I scheduled for the second week of September, but the train show's in the third. I want to move. No, sorry, somebody's already taken the third week.
Okay, so you don't get to go to any train shows?
I didn't until the job that I'm on now. And I've been actually taking advantage of that. The one, I would always take a vacation day for the Altoona show, and I would just be able to get one personal day for the Saturday. So I wouldn't be able to attend the whole weekend. I would just drive up on Saturday and come back home because I had to work again Sunday.
And that Altoona show, they are pretty consistent with when they have it. It's always, it's the second, I believe, week in September pretty much every year. So,
yeah.
Do you have another question, Brad?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
yep.
Go for it.
All right. Excuse me. Sorry. I had a frog in my throat. So tell us a little bit about your home layout, Richard.
Well, you asked a previous question, Brad, that I didn't get to answer. You asked how I got started in model railroading. Okay. And actually I got started in model railroading in 1967. Woke up Christmas morning and found an Athearn HO scale train set under the Christmas tree and was pretty much hooked from that point forward.
Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah, now I can tell you, Lionel, the backstory behind that is my dad. My dad was a radio control guy. He flew radio controlled airplanes, and that's kind of that's like a bug that I never caught. Probably disappointed him a little bit. I would go to the flying field with him all the time, but just never really had any interest in flying. He tried to teach me to fly, and I did a little bit, but never had any real interest. And he asked me one time, he said, how come you don't want to fly airplanes? And I said, I don't want to spend half a winter building an airplane, have something go wrong, and have it turned back into kit form within 3 seconds. So,
so this is kind of
that was a challenge for me. That was a giant disappointment. That'd be like standing on top of a building, grabbing one of my prized locomotives and throwing it off. It just that wasn't. Yeah,
which is probably what I'll be doing with one of Brad's next time I see him.
I thought you were going to do it with me. Now with one of my locomotives.
Do I look like I can lift
related events?
Do I look like I can lift north of 300 pounds?
remember, I'm only 3'2", so
yeah,
I don't know if
I. So okay, this is kind of an ongoing theme where you hang out at different clubs, like you were with your dad's airplane club, but you would never join and participate. And you're with the Iron City N Scalers, and you go to their shows, but you never participate. So this is kind of an ongoing theme where you're with clubs, but you never participate.
Well, that's not 100% true. I was a member, and in fact, I was a president for a while of a club in Freedom. It no longer exists. They tore the bank building down. And then again, my job kind of dictated otherwise, but we were building a 35 by 5 foot double deck layout in the third floor of a bank building in Freedom.
Where's Freedom?
It's like 2 towns north of me along Route 65 along the Ohio River.
Is that the one that has a tourist railroad?
No, there's no tourist railroad in Freedom.
Maybe it's another state. Okay. Never mind.
Maybe it's another state.
Valvoline used to have a refinery in Freedom, but
okay, this is a bit, right? Come on, you guys are putting me.
and basically, Freedom is kind of like the west end of Conway Yard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I helped build that layout and did a lot of the scenery, so on and so forth. In fact, this was back in the era before DCC, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with CTC 16. We actually installed, it was Man-Made Products, John Mann. We installed his CTC 16 on that layout, had it up and running. It was HO scale.
I vaguely have a vague memory of CTC 16. What was that, like the mid to late 80s, early 90s?
Yes.
Yeah, Bruce Chubb pioneered it, and others took. Keith Gutierrez made it popular by authoring kits to build it, and then others expanded upon it, like CTC 32 and 48 and whatnot.
So hang on, Bruce. So Bruce Chubb was the one that created it?
I believe that.
Yeah, he designed it.
Yeah.
Bruce, Mailboy. So Bruce Chubb was the one that designed it?
Yes.
Okay. So he designed the CTC 16, and then others took it out. Like Bruce never built it commercially. Other people started to produce it commercially.
Yeah, it was basically all do it yourself. Then Keith Gutierrez, CTC Products, I believe his company was. He was building them, offering them. It has kits or complete units assembled, and that's when it kind of took off, and then others developed it beyond the 16 channels that CTC 16 was.
It was never a DCC thing, was it?
No,
it's analog. But one of the biggest users and how we found out about John Mann, it was Man-Made Products. John Mann was Alan McClellan was his beta tester. So Alan McClellan for a number of years used John Mann's CTC 16 system.
I vaguely remember that. CTC 16 is a 16 channel. Man, say that fast.
Yeah.
Is a 16 channel system superseded. What does superseded mean?
Replaced by, I think.
Yeah. Superseded by the Rail Command system. It first appeared in 1979 Model Railroader magazine, published as a do-it-yourself project based on Digitrack 1600. Wow. With simpler construction using newer integrated circuits available at the time. For example, man, this is like a throwback. This is like we should have a history show. This is, for example, GE's ASTRAC had a total of 2 semiconductor devices on the receiver. CTC 16 used more than 10,300 transistors.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was really crazy was the decoders had a big IC chip on them, and you had to physically cut the leads to those IC chips to program that decoder to a specific channel. So once you had modified that decoder, you weren't going to switch channels to another channel. It was permanently whatever you set it at, 1 through 16.
So am I to understand then this was an early form of command control, just not digital? It was analog command control.
Exactly.
Is that right?
That's 100% correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they called it carrier control.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. I have heard of carrier control. I never heard of that system, though. I might have been a little bit too young.
A Digitrack 1600 was a command control system offered by Electroplex. Wow, I never even heard of them.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, and that was in 1972. Man, imagine, there's always been people in model railroading that have been trying to create a better mousetrap.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the stuff they come up with, Jeez, that's crazy. I mean, I would have never touched that with a 10-foot pole. It would have been too complicated for me. Okay, so what were we talking? Oh, yeah, so you were in this, you had this layout, and it got then finally somehow the Club and Freedom had to disband because I'm sure the bank building was sold or your lease went up or whatever.
No, that's exactly what happened. Was the bank building was sold, and so we were given, pretty much you got 30 days to get out or whatever. And at the same time, I had changed jobs. Now the group still exists to this day. They moved across the river. They were able to rent the old P&LE, the original P&LE passenger station in Monaca. So they exist to this day. But because of my job changing and my availability, I was no longer able to stay with the group.
Yeah, can I ask a question here?
Yeah,
does our guy seem to have a problem holding jobs? He's constantly moving from job to job.
I know.
Somewhat disconcerting.
And any job he does get, he's not allowed to have weekends off.
Yeah, apparently.
Can I take a shot in the dark here because I don't know what it is? PNLE, I'm guessing is Pittsburgh and Lake Erie?
Correct.
That was a railroad. Pittsburgh and Lake Erie was a railroad that I guess ran around Pittsburgh and Lake Erie.
Well, it never made it to Lake Erie. It ran between, Pittsburgh was the main headquarters, Station Square, in the terminal building. But it ran between Pittsburgh west to Youngstown, actually Struthers, and then it ran Pittsburgh east to Connellsville with a connection with the Western Maryland, and then it ran Pittsburgh and south to Brownsville and a connection with the Monongahela Railroad. They actually, after Conrail, the creation of Conrail was whenever the P&LE actually got trackage rights to Ashtabula and reached the Lake Erie.
Hey, Brad, do you know what their nickname was?
The Little Giant.
The Little Giant, yeah.
Yeah, is your name Brad? Man.
Oh, that's probably one of my second loves. So there's probably a lot of things about, like I said earlier, the Harmony Society helped finance the P&LE.
What's the Harmony Society?
A bunch of guys.
They were a group of people from Germany who thought they were going to live forever. They were a religious group. And there's actually down in Ambridge, their original community is preserved as Old Economy.
It was formed in 1875. Company headquarters were located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The line connected Pittsburgh in the east with Youngstown, Ohio, and in Hazleton neighborhood and west end of Connellsville, blah, blah, blah. It was until the it did not reach Lake Erie at Ashtabula, Ohio until the formation of Conrail in 1976.
Correct.
Thank you.
I can also tell you that P&LE had to sue the federal government to stay, because they were going to be included in the Conrail, and the P&LE actually went to federal court and said, hey, we never filed for bankruptcy. We do not want to be part of Conrail. And another railroad that actually joined them in that lawsuit was the DT&I, because they were a Penn road, and DT&I had never filed for bankruptcy either. And in 1976, they were actually granted independence.
They were a Penn road?
Yeah, DT&I was a Penn road. Now,
What's
P&LE
Penn? Like
was
Penn as in Bic or Penn as in?
No, Penn as in Pennsylvania Railroad.
Oh, they were owned by DT&I was owned by the Pennsylvania Railroad?
Yeah, the Pennsylvania had a majority stock because of Henry Ford.
Ah, of course.
Henry Ford. I don't know how deep you want me to go into this history.
Knock yourself out. Carry on.
Henry, I don't remember the exact years, but Henry Ford wanted to provide reliable transportation for his auto industry, so he actually bought the DT&I. And at one point, the federal government said, hey, wait a minute, a manufacturer cannot also own a transportation company. So he had to sell the DT&I, and the Pennsylvania Railroad bought the majority of the stock in the DT&I.
Oh, okay.
Just like the Pennsylvania Railroad owned the majority of the stock in the Norfolk and Western, which is kind of ironic because now Norfolk Southern owns the old Pennsylvania Railroad.
Of course. That is ironic. It hauled, Pittsburgh and Lake Erie hauled around 1% of its ton. Let's see. While it operated around 0.1% of the nation's railroad miles, Pittsburgh and Lake Erie operated around 0.1% of the nation's railroad miles. It hauled around 1% of the nation's tonnage. Wow.
Yes, that's why it became known as the Little Giant. And their number one customer were Jones and Laughlin Steel Aliquippa Works.
Oh, yeah? And where were they located?
Yeah. They were located in Aliquippa, right across the river from me.
Oh, and everybody knows where Aliquippa is. Let's assume, Richard, there's a guy in the Gold Coast in Australia listening to it. Where's exactly is Aliquippa? Anybody? Brad, you would probably know this one. Why don't you answer this question? Where is Aliquippa, Pennsylvania?
It is north of Pittsburgh on the west side of the Ohio River.
And is it in Pennsylvania or is it in Ohio?
It's in Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool.
Do you remember Tony Dorsett, the running back for the Pittsburgh Panthers back in the 70s? Played for the Cowboys then?
I remember him as a Cowboy. I don't remember him as a Panther. What was a Panther? You mean as the Pittsburgh Panthers, the college?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hang on a minute. Absolutely. Of course.
Okay.
Do you remember Gary Lehman, who played forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 90s?
I do, yes. No, I don't. Anyway, Tony Dorsett went to Aliquippa High School.
Oh,
just trying to provide some context.
Yeah. But of course, I remember him when he played for the Panthers.
They won the national championship.
Does, yeah.
He
was a Heisman Trophy winner, and they won the national championship.
Did they?
Yes.
What year was that?
76, Richard?
Yes, that sounds right.
And who won the national championship the year before? Because everybody thought they were going to repeat in 76.
Was it Georgia?
I had no idea.
I can't remember.
I couldn't tell you.
76, I was in 10th grade. I don't remember.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Do you remember what your English teacher's name was?
No.
Okay.
That's too bad. There's fabulous prizes waiting on that.
Yeah, more shrimp.
How about my band teacher's name? I know that one.
Which teacher?
My band teacher.
Oh, what was your band teacher's name?
Mr. Tolfa.
Ah.
He actually, here's a little trivia. Mr. Tolfa graduated from Aliquippa High School, and you know who one of his classmates was?
Let me guess.
Dorsett?
Hang on. Tony Dorsett.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, not Tony Dorsett.
No.
Oh, geez. Now we're
now,
friends.
Bruce, did you know that the Pittsburgh Panthers won the national championship in 1976?
I did not, and I was in my third year university then, and so
you weren't
there's
paying
probably a number of things I don't remember from 76.
Yeah. Did you have a good 70s, Bruce? I don't remember. Apparently, somebody told me.
If you don't remember, it must have been pretty good, is the way I look at it.
Exactly.
But yeah, anyway, Henry Mancini was Mr. Tolfa's classmate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of the Pink
So there's
Panther,
another famous person from Aliquippa. In fact, Henry Mancini is from West Aliquippa.
Oh, is he really?
Which was literally right beside the steel mill.
Well, West Aliquippa.
Yeah.
Okay. Where was East Aliquippa located?
There wasn't. It was West Economy was basically East Aliquippa.
West Economy was East Aliquippa.
Yeah, because where the Ambridge Aliquippa Bridge was basically known on the P&LE as West Economy. There wasn't really a location known as East Aliquippa.
Oh, okay. I thought that.
I always thought West Economy was one of those vans that a lot of tried to import didn't do very well with.
Interesting fact about Henry Mancini. He was actually born Enrico Nicola Mancini.
Yes.
Well, of course you would know that. But his birthday is the same as mine.
Ooh.
Holy moly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was an American composer, conductor, arranger, pianist, and flutist, often called one of the greatest composers in the history of film. He won 4 Academy Awards, a Golden Globe, and 20 Grammy Awards, plus a posthumous Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1995.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. His works include the theme and soundtrack for the Peter Gunn television series, as well as the music for the Pink Panther and Moon River, Breakfast at Tiffany's, the music from Peter Gunn. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, he also wrote the theme song for one of our local TV shows. It was called Chiller Theater.
Chiller Theater?
Yes.
Okay. So one of your
he didn't perform. He wrote the music, but he didn't perform the music for the TV show.
Oh,
he wrote
okay.
it.
He only wrote the music for the TV show. He didn't write it. And that was Chiller Theater. Was that in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Okay. Which is also the home of Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Childhood hero of mine.
Oh, was he?
Oh, I loved Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Yep.
Okay. And whereabouts was his neighborhood located?
I don't know. Do you know, Richard?
Well, it was a neighborhood of make-believe, so it really wasn't any actual place.
Oh, this is gold. You can't make this up.
No. As a matter of fact, you can. It says here,
just someplace that looked like Pittsburgh. It had a streetcar running through the street.
He was born. Henry Mancini was born in Maple Heights, Ohio, and raised in West Aliquippa.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
His
dad moved. Yeah, they moved to get a job at the steel mill.
Oh, did they? Originally from Scano Abruzzo. His father was a laborer at the Jones and Laughlin Steel Company, and an amateur musician who first came to the U.S. as a teenager around 1910. Anything else we want to pursue about Henry Mancini? Bruce, you got any questions about Henry Mancini?
No, but I always loved the Pink Panther.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You hear those notes, and everybody can kind of relate to that.
When Henry Mancini heard he heard Rudolph G. Kopp's score in the 1935 Cecil B. DeMille film The Crusades, it inspired him to pursue a film music composition career, despite his father's wishes for him to become a teacher. I know somebody that's a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good teacher, from what I understand.
Yeah, you think?
Oh, it must be a different person then.
Who are we talking about?
I have no idea.
We have no idea.
I don't know. The physics don't add up. Oh, God.
Okay, so anybody else from West Aliquippa that we might know that's famous? Because we've hit Tony Dorsett. He was, how did he, he went to West Aliquippa High School.
It's just called Aliquippa High School, yeah.
It's just called Aliquippa High School.
Henry Mancini wrote the Panther theme song for them. So
right,
that's why they're connected, I guess.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You want to know something else interesting about Aliquippa's football team?
Oh, sure.
They played in the state semifinals 2 or 3 years ago, a team called the Jersey Shore Bulldogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
they won.
And I'm assuming the Jersey Shore Bulldogs are somewhere on the Jersey Shore?
Yeah, on the Jersey Shore of the Susquehanna River in north central Pennsylvania.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have.
Okay, so what, Rich? What do you do for the railroad?
I'm a locomotive electrician, so I work on the electrical systems on. But all we have now is GE and EMD locomotives, so it's computer systems, traction motors, the grid blowers, rad fans, basically anything that's electrical. The electricians take care of that.
And when you started with the railroad, what was your initial job?
Oh, originally I was a fireman and oiler. I started as a fireman and oiler, so I was a hostler. I worked at a location called East Park. That's the inbound location at Conway. And part of my responsibility was fueling the locomotives, sanding the locomotives, the glorious job of dumping the toilets, sweeping out the cabs. And then we would hostel the locomotives. Basically consist would come in, but that consist wasn't going right back out. The first one might, you break them apart and they get added to 3 different consists that are going to, 3 different locations. And it was, I did that for a couple of years, and the outbound electrician at East Park, he told me, because I was in the Air Force, teletype maintenance in the Air Force. And Bob told me, he says, "Hey, you had electrical training. They're going to hire electricians, go talk to the shop manager and see if he'll upgrade you." So I did. I brought in my paperwork from the Air Force, and the shop manager looked at it and says, "Yeah, I'll upgrade you to the electrician position." Somebody sleeping?
No. I'm just waiting to hear what you're going to say next. I can't. It's got to be interesting.
Oh boy, Brad, is Lionel trying to tell me I'm putting him to sleep?
No, I don't think so. No,
I can barely hear it. Brad, you're backing away from your microphone there, buddy.
Again.
All right, I'm back now.
Okay, you got to keep it right by your nose there.
Yep.
So you said you don't do T-track, but do you have a layout?
Yes.
And what scale is the layout?
It's an N scale. It's a 24-inch by 80-inch hollow core door that I call the Long Valley branch. And one of my biggest problems in model railroading is I haven't really met a railroad that I don't like, except for the Evil Empire, otherwise known as Union Pacific. So what I did was, because I didn't really want to get involved with trying to create a fictional railroad. I admire guys, like Lionel and Alan McClellan and Tony Custer, who could, create they create these paint schemes and these railroads that seem 100% believable. And I never really thought that I would be able to do that. So for me, it was easier to take a prototype railroad and just say, okay, what if a branch line ran in this location and this railroad operated it? So that's kind of the way I run my layout right now.
And this is all on a hollow core door?
Yes.
Wow.
And what's the size of this hollow core door?
At 24 inches by 80 inches.
And it's an N scale, I'm assuming. Or is it S scale?
Yes.
Have you ever thought of exploring S scale?
I don't have the room.
No, I know. I was like a joke.
Oh, okay.
So run that past me again. This prototype scenario that you have on a hollow core door.
Yeah, basically, it's a fictitious branch line. The interchange yard is known as the Midland Interchange Yard. The one end of the interchange yard just basically goes off into a tunnel, and that's my connection with the rest of the world. Then the line loops around to the front of the layout, and it serves the small village of Long Valley. And in Long Valley, you have Snyder Box. They create cardboard boxes, so they receive rolls of paper by rail, and they ship cardboard boxes out by truck. You have Vulcan Cement, which receives cement via 2-bay covered hoppers, and then they ship the cement to the various concrete companies in the area via truck. And then you have Vulcan Manufacturing, which is a structural steel fabricator that they receive, steel products via rail, and they ship scrap out via rail, and then the structural steel parts that they create, they ship out via truck. So basically, it's if I want it to be Southern Railway this week, I have enough enough rolling stock and locomotives to actually make it a Southern layout, and it just exists someplace in North Carolina. Or if I want it to be Conrail this week, I have enough locomotives and rolling stock to operate as a Conrail branch, and it exists somewhere in Pennsylvania. Same as, and I can do any era from like 1955 to like 1980. To me, railroads, they don't exist past 1980 because they stopped using cabooses. And, I grew up in an era where it wasn't a train unless it had a caboose on the end of it. So, but I could, I have some steam equipment, so I can run like a 1955 PRR branch. I could do a 1960 Pittsburgh and West Virginia branch, Pittsburgh and Lake Erie branch, just a whole gambit. And it just kind of, I even have like Maine Central equipment where it can exist up in New Hampshire someplace as a Maine Central branch. So it's kind of, at the owner's whim where the layout exists.
And do all these industries change names when you change railroads?
No, the industries all stay the same. It's just the railroad company changes and the location changes.
Okay. Sounds kind of fictional to me.
It is. But it's prototype paint schemes on the locomotives and rolling stock.
And do you have a Facebook page or anything?
Well, yeah, I have a Facebook account. Yeah, just my name.
Okay,
for the layout, he means.
Oh, not for the layout. No. But I do have a YouTube channel where occasionally I post YouTube videos of the layout.
Oh, yeah? What's the YouTube channel?
It's RWS Baden. RWS Baden.
RWS Baden.
Yes.
What exactly does that stand for?
That's my initials in the town where I live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things.
Go ahead.
I didn't know whenever I was creating the YouTube channel what to come up with, so I figured, okay, that's the easiest thing to do.
Sure, exactly. And so is there anywhere that somebody could see a version of the layout, the track plan?
Yeah, on the Iron City Facebook group, I've posted versions of the track plan on that group. Plus, I did because we do like a layout tour as part of that group, and I posted that video to my YouTube channel. But if you search the Iron City group, you'll find my track plan for the Long Valley branch. It's actually evolved over the years.
Okay. So how would somebody find it on the Iron City N scale page?
I think you just use the search function and type in Long Valley branch.
Okay. Well, let's do that. You know what it's time for, eh, Bruce?
Elevator music?
Elevator music. So what do we type in? What do we type in? Search on this group?
I'm pretty sure you search for Long Valley branch.
Okay, let's do that and see what happens. I can sense that Kelly's typing right along with me. Probably the mailboy too.
Absolutely.
All right, Long Valley Bridge.
Instead of elevator music, we should get that music of the typewriters going.
Oh yeah,
that's not bad. I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
I can imagine me right now, Bruce. I can imagine me stopping the recording and making a note, putting typewriter music right there on the. So now I've found Richard Shirey on the Iron City N scale guys. But how would I find the track plan at that point? Interesting. I wonder how you find the track plan. Tough call.
I have the track plan called up here. I don't know if I can share my screen or not.
Well, that's really not going to help anybody that's listening to us. We need to figure out a way for people to go and see the track plan, because there might be other people that are interested in seeing a track plan that's on a hollow corridor that has all of this stuff happening, because basically the way Richard described it, it sounds like it's like a 20 by 40 foot layout on an hollow corridor.
the way I found it is just went to the Iron City N Scale Facebook page,
right?
And I just hit on the search function, and then type in Long Valley Branch, and there's several posts that come up for
right. And
Long Valley Branch.
So I see one here on March 16th, February 17th, November 10th.
If you scroll down, you'll see.
And if you kept your microphone near your face,
May 15th.
Yeah.
If you look for the May 15th post, that's kind of like my most recent track plan, track schematic.
May 15th of 2022 or 20...
Actually, Lionel, it says in this post, after listening to the AML podcast that featured Brad Williamson, I realized I have not posted a updated track schematic and track plan for the current Long Valley branch. So apparently I had just finished listening to one of your podcasts whenever I did this.
It's May 5th. Scroll down till you come to May 15th, 2023, and there's a track plan sitting there.
Do you, Kelly, do you think there's any possibility that modulating of your volume is just you moving the microphone back and forth away from your mouth?
No, I fixed it.
No, I just wondered because that's what's happening with Brad right now.
It's because
sometimes he's talking like this, and sometimes it sounds like this. Sometimes it sounds like this, and then sometimes it sounds like this. And
I was efforting trying to find the track plan, so I had to turn my head a little bit.
Efforting.
Yes.
Well, you're going to have to learn to effort without changing the volume.
Yeah. Hey, Lionel. Hey, Lionel.
Yeah.
Do you think Rich has any Rapido trains?
You know what?
Yes, I do.
Ooh.
They're N scale.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay. You have N-scale Rapido trains?
Yes.
You're a fast track.
Yeah, don't bother, Bruce. Don't bother, Bruce.
That was a commercial. That was supposed to be a
scheduled program.
Yeah, Bruce I wouldn't bother, Bruce. I sense there will be an introduction and a wrap-up for this particular podcast.
Yeah.
It's just a rolling stock. I don't own any of their locomotives.
No, and how come you just don't feel like their locomotives are quality enough, or?
Oh no, it's just right now. I'm trying to stop going down all these different rabbit holes. So and Rapido, they make some fantastic stuff. The only problem is the majority of their stuff is Canadian, and I'm kind of like down way too many rabbit holes as it is as far as different railroads go. But I did, what was his name? Mike McGowan, Mike McGear. I can't think of his name. He worked for Rapido, and unfortunately he passed away. And Rapido, they were selling gondolas lettered for his railroad. That was supposed to support his son to go to college. So I bought both of the gondolas that were offered.
Good.
Yeah, because I'd met Mike, and I don't remember what his screen name was now, but I mentioned earlier about the Rail Wire. I used to be real active on the Rail Wire, and he was a member of the Rail Wire as well.
And what was the Rail Wire?
That was I guess it still exists, an online forum, Model Railroad forum.
Oh, yeah. And it's still active, or it's not active anymore?
Oh, yeah, it's still very active.
Okay. Have you ever heard of it, Bruce?
No.
Kelly?
Yes, I have.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And Joe talks about it all the time.
Is one of those.
Yeah. Sometimes there are a lot of keyboard warriors on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It gets kind of edgy. That's one of the reasons why I backed away a little bit. But you know what? There's a lot of good guys on there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does get kind of edgy. But that's like I was saying about going to Altoona. I get to meet up with a lot of guys that I originally met. Some of the older members that were from the original Atlas Forum, they migrated to the Rail Wire, and get to meet up with those guys in Altoona at the N-scale weekend, because some of them live in Maryland, some of them live over in Eastern PA, the eastern part of Pennsylvania. So it's kind of like the only time you really, other than just chit chatting on the forum.
Right. I can't find Rail Wire. I've pushed.
Yeah, the Rail Wire.
The Rail Wire.
PRW. Yeah, the Rail Wire.
The Rail Wire. Don't forget it. Don't forget the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't find it if you forget the.
Yeah, you need the. Oh, there it is. There. Wow, the rail wire. There's so much. There's so much going on the internet, eh? So much
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. Yep. I'm also a member of the train board. I'll give those guys a shout out too, because that's a really good forum.
Is it? Have you ever heard of that one, Bruce?
That'd be another no.
Okay. Kelly?
No, I have not heard that one.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly, the train board is the internet's original train forum.
Oh, is that?
That's what they say.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know there's a lot of manufacturers that hang out on the train board.
Yeah?
Yes. And there was a few manufacturers that hung out on the rail wire as well, but like was mentioned, it gets a little edgy and some of the guys just stop going around. Jason Schrawn used to post on the rail wire. I don't know if he still does or not.
There's the train board. I found it. It claims to be the internet's original model railroad forum.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, what do you think, guys? We still got to do our introduction and our wrap up. Do we have any more questions? Or is there anything else you'd like to tell us, Richard?
I'll just actually get into more detail what he actually does on the railroad.
Okay, let's get into more detail on what you do on the railroad.
Well, right now I'm working on what's known as the routine maintenance line.
Okay.
So it's kind of like Jiffy Lube, where locomotive comes in. It has to, if you have electronic brakes, the locomotive has to be inspected and maintained every 184 days. If you still have 26L, then it's every 92 days. And what I do specifically is I have to, on DC traction motor locomotives, I have to look at the brushes in the motor because there's specifications on how many line, and there's actual physical lines painted on the brush, and how many you see in the window. Like for a 6-month and a 12-month, you have to see 3 lines in the window. A 3-month is only 1 line in the window. If you don't see the 3 lines, the brushes have to be replaced. I can tell you on a GE locomotive, like a Dash 9 or a DC Evo, there's 72 brushes total in all 6 traction motors. Also, you have to inspect and or replace the brushes on the slip rings for the main alternator. You do a speed test. You have to check cab signals. I have to do a complete cab signal test, fill out the FRA forms for that. And then, download the computer fault logs, any magnet valves for like the air compressor, that controls the air compressor, sanders, things of that nature. They have to be changed every so often. EMDs have like turbo lube pumps, so you have to change the brushes unless it's a Paragon. But if it's an older style EMD, you have to change the brushes in that, change the brushes in the grid blowers. Most rad fans are all AC now, so you don't have any brushes in, the rad fans. And then if there's any type of an issue, the crew reports, no dynamics not working, then you have to troubleshoot that to figure out why, or, any other issue that it might have.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Are you married?
Yes.
Oh, are you? Oh.
Yes.
How's that going?
Good. Yeah. And what's funny is now my wife, she babysits for a girl that she bowls with on Sunday nights. So she's not here right now, but she's a enormous hockey fan. She loves hockey, specifically, Pittsburgh Penguins. And for her Easter present, I got her tickets to the game on the 6th where we played, Tampa Bay Lightning, which we actually won. So that made it an even better game.
Right.
But there's a lot of different teams that she likes to follow. But basically Penguins fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
She makes really good spaghetti too. I can tell you that.
And what's her name?
Susie.
So she's a huge hockey fan. That's a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, and she makes good spaghetti.
Among other things. Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the other things that she makes?
Oh, roast beef,
okay.
Pork roast.
So who's her favorite Pittsburgh Penguin player?
Oh, well, naturally everybody loves Sydney.
Of course.
She also Chris Letang.
Right.
she was very upset when they traded Gensel. She loved him.
Hey, do you know where they traded Gensel to, Scooter? Scooter.
Hope you didn't. Hope you
Scott there?
didn't. Scott, you alive?
Scooter.
Hello.
What were you making noise on? You muted yourself there, Scott.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was under the table for a second.
Okay. What were
You have been drinking, haven't
What
you?
were you working? What were you working on under the table?
Trying to figure out how to get the sound better on this headset.
Oh, okay. Turn up the volume.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm having trouble hearing you guys tonight for some reason.
You didn't miss the whole Henry Mancini part, did you?
I think I did.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh man,
That was one of the highlights of the podcast.
Well, what I'll do is I'll listen to it. You know, it has rewind. I'll be able to hear it a couple of times when it comes out.
Okay, all right. And then later on we can, in another podcast, we can talk about what you liked and disliked about the Henry Mancini part.
What do I like and dislike about it? I'm not real sure.
Well, yeah, but we won't know until you listen to the Henry Mancini part, and then.
I don't even know what
the whole AML nation is going to be held in suspense because you weren't paying attention.
Wow. It's all on my shoulders.
Yeah, it's all on your shoulders. So, what did you think about? Do you know who Pittsburgh traded Gensel to?
I have no idea. I'm way behind on all that. When did this happen?
I think I sent you texts about it.
You did, but I have a short memory.
So, okay, if I sent you a text about a Pittsburgh Penguin being traded to a particular NHL team, that NHL team might have been that NHL team might have
Carolina Hurricanes.
The Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah,
that's
and we appreciate that trade a whole lot.
Okay,
you should, because it was highway robbery.
Exactly.
That's because you got the worst. That's because you got the guys have the worst general manager in all of professional hockey.
He's been doing good for us, though. Have you noticed?
No, Gunsel's doing good. I said that I'm meaning that Pittsburgh Penguins now have the worst general manager in all of hockey, NHL.
Who came from the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Exactly, he came from them. He's not here anymore.
Was he the GM there, or was he like an assistant?
He was the GM for 7 years.
It? Oh wow!
Yeah.
You want him back?
Nope.
No. They're having enough trouble on their own without anything.
So when you speak of Sidney, do you speak of Sidney Crosby?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Have you taken your wife to any other NHL games?
Oh, yeah. We went. Well, we don't really want to talk about that. Well, I guess we could.
Yeah, we
was the authorities involved?
Yeah. Would you get in trouble with the law or something?
No, unfortunately, she had an accident. But I got to tell you, the Penguins organization was fantastic. Susie, to this day, still doesn't know exactly what happened. We were walking down to our seats. I don't even remember who we were playing. And she either missed a step or she slipped on a step, but she ended up falling down several flights of those concrete steps.
Oh.
Yeah, she messed up her Achilles tendon and she broke both bones in her left arm, or right at her wrist. Both of those bones that connect your arm to your wrist. She has a plate. She's actually been through 2 Achilles tendon surgeries now, and still having some issues. But the Penguins organization has been fantastic, because when we attended that game, because Susie also loves Marc-Andre Fleury, and she was wearing his jersey that night. And when they loaded her into the ambulance and took her to the hospital, she said, "Let me take my Fleury shirt off," and they said no, and they cut it off of her.
Oh man,
yeah, exactly. So she contacted the Penguins, and they told her, they said, "Okay, yeah, we're going to replace your seats," they actually replaced our seats with even better seats. And she told them about the jersey getting cut off at the hospital. And the woman, she said, well, you come up here. I need to meet you at the door, PPG Paints Arena. She says, I got something for you. And this was several months later, after Susie was able to walk after the Achilles tendon surgery. So we went up and met the woman. I don't remember her name right now, but she handed Susie a bag, pulled the jersey out of the bag, and it was a Marc-Andre Fleury jersey. And not only was it a Marc-Andre Fleury jersey that you can no longer get, it was an autographed Marc-Andre Fleury jersey. And he had already been traded. He was no longer with the Penguins. I think at that time he was with the Golden Knights, which he's actually been traded again. He's someplace else. She keeps track of it a lot better than I can. I'm lucky I remember who I am,
Right.
I think he's in Minnesota now, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, yeah,
Minnesota Wild. I think you're right. Yeah. So when it comes to the Penguins organization, they're just fantastic in my book.
That's cool. Well, that's good to know. So, did you throw her down the stairs, or did she actually?
No. And unfortunately, she was actually out cold for a few minutes. Oof. So it was, that was a bad. And luckily for us, there was a nurse there off duty. She was there to watch the game, but she saw it happen too, and immediately come running up to help Susie. So
that's good.
Yeah, it could have been a very horrible night. That even though still some issues going on, a lot of things worked out.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a horrible night, anyways.
Yeah, and they didn't even make it onto the ice to practice. We had just grabbed our popcorn and drinks and was headed down to our seats, and boom, that happened.
That's too bad. That is unfortunate. At least some good came out of it. Anyways, you got a Marc-Andre Fleury. Kelly, do you know who he plays? What position he plays?
I have no idea.
I know that, but do you know what position Marc-Andre Fleury plays? Oh, I get you. That was your answer. I thought you were just making a comment about
center. Yeah. Center? No.
Yes, that's right. He's in the center.
Richard, I can answer some of these questions.
Okay. Sorry, I guess I'm impatient.
Well, I guess that's all. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about working for the Norfolk?
What position does he play? I'm curious.
Oh, he's a goalie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That would be my second answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. What else can you tell us about working for the Norfolk Southern? How long have you worked there? How many years you worked for the Norfolk Southern?
I've been there 16 years.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, four more years and I'm going to retire.
You're going to retire with only 20 years?
20 years? Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'll be 67 whenever I retire.
Wow. So you started late in life with the Norfolk Southern.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Cause life didn't go as planned. Cause I joined the Air Force right out of high school.
Oh yeah.
What they say, hindsight's 20/20 because,
absolutely.
My dad had a good friend that was an engineer down at the railroad. Dave started with the railroad when it was Penn Central. And then whenever I graduated, it was Conrail. Well, I didn't know that my dad's buddy was actually, because he knew I was interested in trains. I didn't know he was actually asking around for me. And I had joined the Air Force on what they called delayed entry. I had actually got sworn in January of my senior year, even though I didn't ship out to basic training till June. Well, my dad's buddy Dave stopped over in February and said, "Hey, you can come to work on the railroad the day after you graduate." And I said, Dave, I joined the Air Force on delayed entry. I'm sworn in. I can't, there's no way I can get out of it now. I said, but whenever I wasn't planning on staying in the Air Force. I only did 4 years. I told him, I said, whenever I get out, though, I would really appreciate if you get me a job on the railroad. I always wanted to be a locomotive engineer. And so at that point in time, the economy was still going good. Well, if you're not from around this area, you probably do not know what happened in the early 80s. It was a complete collapse of the steel industry. And like I said, Jones & Laughlin Aliquippa Works was P&LE's number one customer, and that's why the P&LE no longer exists, because when LTV basically went bankrupt and sold off, all the assets, P&LE no longer had a big customer, and they were, CSX just wanted the main line. But anyway, at the same time, when J&L was going down, as well as like a lot of U.S. steel plants, so on and so forth, Weirton Steel, Wheeling, Pittsburgh Steel, the railroad industry was going down along with it. And I think it was in 81, Conrail laid off like 90,000 people that year. So whenever I got out of the Air Force, I called Dave, who had been with the railroad for 15 years. I said, can you still get me that job on the railroad? I didn't know how bad things were. His exact reply was, I've been on the railroad for 15 years and I'm barely holding an extra board position. And 6 months later, he was laid off. So the only thing that was actually hiring, because like I said, in the Air Force, I was trained as a teletype maintenance repairman. Well, Western Union wasn't hiring any teletype maintenance repairmen. The only industry that was hiring was trucking companies. So I ended up spending like 22 years driving a truck.
Cool. Long haul.
First 10 years was over the road, and then like the remaining 12 years were local work. Triaxle dump trucks, hauling coal, sand, that kind of stuff, asphalt. Also worked for a garbage company for a while. And you talk about, somebody mentioned earlier about positions changed. Who would have thought I'd ever got laid off from a garbage company? But I was working for a local garbage company, driving roll-offs, and they had lost a giant contract to Waste Management. There was like 100 of us got laid off. So, things change. Had to find another job. And the last trucking company that I worked for was a concrete, driving a concrete mixer. And that's the problem with construction. It's feast or famine. And if it's raining, you're not working. And it was during that time period that somebody told me, hey, the railroad's hiring. And I went to a hiring session, and that's when I got hired as a fireman and oiler.
So the railroad was hiring when it was raining?
No, they were actually hiring in the wintertime whenever I was laid off.
So they were hiring when it was
snow. Actually, I went to a job interview for Norfolk Southern. It was in January, and got a phone call around March, I think it was. It said, are you still interested in the position? I said yes, and I started in April.
After it stopped raining.
Yes. And snowing.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us about working for the railroad, or are we just about done here?
Is there anything else that you would want to know about working for the railroad? I've worked all three shifts. That's the one thing about working at the engine house. It's a 24/7 operation. We even have guys working on Christmas. I've worked plenty of holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. It's not your standard 9-to-5 job. My personal opinion, I hate the graveyard shift the most. I just can't sleep during the day. Currently, I'm working 3 to 11, thanks to PSR. I guess everybody's heard about precision scheduled railroading. Not going to go into any big detail there, but they decided in 2019 they were going to do more with less. And like I tell everybody, in 2018 I had 44 journeymen and 6 students under me on the roster. And after the big layoffs in 2019, I only had 5. So that's how that's how deep the cuts were. Yeah. And the daylight job that I was holding in 2018 no longer existed in 2019. And the only positions that I could hold was on second shift. So I prefer to work second over third. But that's the one thing, if anybody is planning on going to work for the railroad because I work on what they call the mechanical side. Mechanical is engine house and car shop. Transportation is, conductors and locomotive engineers. And, those guys don't really have they're on call. At least I'm not on call. I have a standard work, 3 to 11. And with this new job, I'm Monday through Friday. But before this new job, my work day was Friday through Tuesday, and I had Wednesday and Thursday off. So, and you worked weekends, holidays. It doesn't matter if it snowed 2 feet last night, they expect you to show up.
Yeah, I think most jobs are like that, though. If it's snow, they expect you to show up.
Yeah.
That's kind of a common thing. Well, unless you're a teacher, then it's a snow day.
They're called flex instruction days now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. You teach online.
Well, I think we're done because we still got to do our introduction and our wrap up. So this was an interesting hour and 25 minutes. We learned about Henry Mancini. By the way, the national champions in 1977, the year after the Pittsburgh Panthers won the national championship, was Notre Dame.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Touchdown Jesus.
What's that?
Touchdown Jesus.
Ah, of course.
That's that big mural of Jesus that they have out there with his hands raised up at Notre Dame Stadium.
Oh, do they have that big mural out there with his hands raised, Jesus' hands raised up?
Yeah, it looks like he's signaling for a touchdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life.
End over end, neither left nor to right.
What's that?
End over end, neither left nor to right. Straight through the middle of those precious uprights. Drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life.
You're backing away from your microphone too.
I get it right here.
Okay, well then turn your squelch up or whatever you turn up.
I was tuning on Nice Cube at the time.
Oh, okay. Well then, keep that in mind next time you're talking. Of course, it's only been 10 years.
Yeah, it's all new to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Subway chimes go.
Doors are closing. Subway chimes go.
Doors are closing. Subway chimes go.
Well,
why
subway
would you say that when we're doing the wrap up to this show?
I don't know. It's just
it just came out. That's the beauty.
I downloaded some music on Spotify and I downloaded the sound of subways, and they have an hour of somebody riding in the subway, and every time it came to a stop, the doors would open, and then you'd hear mind the gap, and then just before the doors are closing, and then the subway chime would chime, which I found kind of interesting.
I have this really cool thing. Just gave me a sugar. You've had too much sugar. No kidding. I just had a chocolate milkshake from Steak and Shake.
Ooh,
your sugar's rising. Really?
There's a shocking revelation.
Yeah, well, knock me over with a feather. So what did you think of that interview, Brad?
I enjoyed listening to it. Richard he knows a lot of stuff about a lot of things, and we heard about a pretty wide variety of topics of railroading experiences he's had and some other experiences he's had of different things in the Pittsburgh area. We heard about the steel mill that the J&L Steel, which was pretty much right across the river from where he lives, and also Tony Dorsett, running back for the Dallas Cowboys, went to school right across the river. So a lot of interesting and varied topics that we get into.
Did you know that the Pittsburgh Panthers won the national championship in 78 or 76? What was it?
One of those years, might have even been 77 with Tony Dorsett as a star and Heisman Trophy winner, I believe.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah.
When will you know?
Henry Mancini was from Pittsburgh. That was an interesting fact.
No, he's from West Aliquippa.
Oh, Aliquippa. Well, it's Pittsburgh area.
Well, it's Pittsburgh area, but that's not what the folks at West Aliquippa think. They don't want to hear that. They're proud of their West Aliquippa, which is just down the road from Sewickley. How do you say Sewickley?
You got it. That's how you say it.
Huh. That's where Mario Lemieux lives.
Yep.
He wasn't the great one. He was the next one. Did you know that?
Mm.
Was that him, or was that? I thought Eric Lindros was who they called the next one, but I could be wrong.
I think in Philadelphia they called him JC. I was never a huge Eric Lindros fan. And then we heard about Conway Yard.
Yes. Yep.
I drove by there once.
Wow.
Pretty
and the Conway Engine House, where our guest works as an electrician for Norfolk Southern.
For the Norfolk Southern. And is Conway Yard still as big and as active as it was back in the day?
I think it's still pretty close, yeah. A lot of, they've closed down other big yards like Enola, not closed down, but pared it back. And I think a lot of the classification work that was in some of those other yards was transferred to Conway. So it's still, now they don't do with this precision scheduled railroading. I think they have shut down some of the hump yards that they had there because they don't do as much of that, I guess, with PSR. But there's still quite a few trains that go through there on a daily basis. So Well, you've been to the Station Inn and see how the traffic is there. All that traffic that goes by the Station Inn probably passed through Conway. So
right. Yeah. And not too far from Conway Yard, there's I'm assuming it's a high school football field.
That could be, yeah. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking at it on the big, the Google, whatever they call that, Google
Earth.
Google Earth.
Yeah.
And the team's nickname. Would you like?
Is it? I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's the Bulldogs.
Really? Oh, how about that?
Yeah. So you might want to look into that and see if you can put a cease and desist order in there or something.
Yeah, they may have copied us. I don't know.
Yeah. The Conway Yard is 568 acres large.
That's pretty big.
181 miles of track.
Yep.
It has a storage capacity of over 11,000 cars and is a hump yard.
Yeah. At one point, it was the largest rail yard in the entire world.
Yeah,
it's been surpassed by Bailey Yard on Union Pacific out in Nebraska. But yeah, it's still big and very active yard for sure.
I don't think it's the biggest one in the world. I think that's Todd Treaster's N scale layout.
Yeah, we forgot. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Bailey Yard has been relegated to second place.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think that's the smallest, biggest yard, right? Because it's N.
Yeah, that's right.
Conway Yard pales in comparison to Todd Treaster's.
Yeah.
New York something and something and something.
Yeah, because he has more cars in his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like Lionel pointing out that there was an empty spot and he could fit another car, and then Todd went and put another car in there.
It's New York, Susquehanna, and Alleghenies. Is that what it is?
That's correct.
Wow,
New York, Susquehanna, and Allegheny. Yep.
Look at me getting that just from the initials. I hope you heard that, Todd. Me figuring that out just from the initials already.
I'm sure Todd will be listening. He's a pretty frequent listener now that he's discovered the AML Nation.
Yeah, he's a fan.
He and Richard know each other pretty well too, so I'm sure he'll be interested in listening to Richard's podcast.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? Oh yeah, and you're going to spend some time with Todd. You spent time with Todd a couple of weeks ago.
I did, yes.
Keeping in mind, this is being recorded. So I could be referring to something you just told me about something that's coming up.
Yes.
Are you following me here?
I am. Yes, I am following you.
Are you picking up when I'm laying down?
Yeah, I'm smelling what you're cooking. Yep.
Rapido Trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido Trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
Yeah, so somehow on Saturday, a week or two or three ago, you went to Pittsburgh to pick up T-Track stuff.
I did, yes, from Esther's Hobby Shop in Pittsburgh. The guy that makes our T-Track modules works there.
And how do you spell Esther?
ESTHER 'S.
ESTHER
apostrophe S. Yeah, it's actually in Millvale, which is north side of Pittsburgh.
Is that anywhere near West Aliquippa?
It's not super far, but not super close either. I would guess it's probably a 45-minute to an hour drive.
Because Henry Mancini was from West Aliquippa.
Yes, he was. Indeed, he was. As we learned.
So this confuses me.
Okay.
Why do you have to, and you said you were going to go pick up T-Track module building stuff for Todd Treaster and his friend.
His friend Jim Young, mainly, yeah. Well, Jim owns a large turkey farm near Todd, and he's just tied down to that all the time. And I'm now on summer vacation, so I have nothing to do and all day to do it. So I want to go to Esther's anyway because I want to look around, and they have a amazing selection of N scale stuff. So I want to make a trip out there anyway, and I figured I would pick up Jim's module for him while I was out there.
I should probably. Wow.
And drop it off at Todd's on the way home.
So Millvale isn't too far off as 279. One of these days I should take, when I'm coming up the old I-77 northbound, I-79 northbound, I should take the old 379 cutoff that goes west towards the airport, which our pal Tracy Boyd, the official flight attendant of the AML networks, that's where she's always going to.
Okay.
And I could take 379 and then get on 279, and then it's not that far to Millvale.
No, it isn't. Not too far at all.
How long does it take you to get to Pittsburgh?
About 3 hours.
Holy moly!
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking the Ford, the 78 Ford that was built? Its build date is 1977.
I remember I discovered that I was wrong about that.
Yes, I remember that. But have we discussed it on the podcast yet?
No, not yet. We haven't. No, I'm not taking that. I'm taking the 2012 Ford Fiesta, and I don't know what its build date was.
Did Kelly put you up to this?
He did.
No. Yep. Hey, at Esther's Hobby Shop in Millvale, Pennsylvania. Their phone number is. It's open till 4. It opens at 4:30 a.m. on Saturday. That's weird.
I don't think that's true, but that might be a mistake.
It's on the internet, so it must be true.
I guess, yeah.
Their phone number is area code 412-458-5044. Call Esther's Hobby Shop right now and order your T-Track module today. They're on 40 Foster Avenue. No, that's somewhere else. Anyway, they're in Millvale. Have you ever been to the big fancy Model Railroad Club in is it Gibsonia on the north side of Pittsburgh?
I don't believe I have, no.
You got to make a point of going there. Holy moly.
Okay.
And they were featured in Model Railroader back in the late 90s. They had a cover story done about them, and it's a really well done story. The cover photo is excellent. And
I will have to check them out. I'm not familiar with that.
It's a great article, and the photos are fantastic, and the cover shot is probably one of the best cover shots in Model Railroader history.
Was this done by anybody? Was this done by an author that we may know?
There you go. You're smelling what I'm cooking.
I am.
You're picking up when I'm laying down.
I am indeed.
All right.
It's like we're in sync tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, at Esther's Hobby Shop, do they have Rapido trains?
You're a fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's L, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
And yes, I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay. You'll have to show us what you buy tomorrow. So then from there, are you going, and then from there, you're driving back to Todd's place?
Yeah, I am.
Wow. That's a busy day. What time will you start out?
We're leaving at 7 a.m.
Who's we? Is that Missy and you?
Yes. Yep, Missy's going out with me.
Spend the day with you?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a bit of a long day for her, right?
Definitely, yes. It's a long day for me, but I'm used to it. I spend every day with myself.
Yeah, I know. I'm bored to death. I know, because I'm here.
Indeed.
All right, that's it. So did we cover everything? We enjoyed Richard Shirey's interview. Mm-hmm. It was we learned all sorts of things about West Aliquippa, Tony Dorsett, the Pittsburgh Panthers, Henry Mancini, and his wife falling down at a Pittsburgh Penguins game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Susie did. Yep.
Yeah. Which would basically be the highlight of any Pittsburgh Penguins game.
Oh, boy. I don't know if I can agree with that.
You know what you and I have to do? One of these days, you and I have to do a home and home series. We go to a Pittsburgh Penguins game, and then we'll go to a Leaf game.
That would be fun. Absolutely.
Would be fun.
Yeah.
The 2012 Ford Fiesta. How many miles on that baby?
162,000.
How's it running?
Really good. We took it down to Jim Thorpe today and back.
How long does it take you to get to Jim Thorpe?
That's about 2 hours.
Oh, okay. You're always on the go.
During the summer, yeah. Yep. We
And
try to get as much of our stuff, funsy stuff out of get it done while we have the time.
Yeah. And how long? And Missy's also a teacher.
She is, yeah, which makes it nice because we both have off at the same time.
Right.
It's a teacher in the same building where I teach, as a matter of fact.
Right. And what does she teach?
She is a special ed teacher.
Okay, that's a hard job.
Oh yeah,
that is a hard job.
Yeah, she was really closely involved with. I think we discussed it a couple times on the podcast, that unified bocce team that we had, where special needs kids would team up with some of the athletes in our school, and they had a bocce team that actually played interscholastic games against other schools. Missy was a referee for that. She was a bocce referee.
What do you need a referee for? That's like lawn bowling, only in Italian.
Well, I guess when you have to measure who's closest to the
and
I forget
and referee for the fights when they
yeah.
It can be really rough.
Because at 5'1", she's really good at breaking up fights.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think I'm short.
She must have lost a bet or something, did she?
Several bets, yeah. You can't get where she's at by only losing one bet. It's a whole devastating sequence.
Okay, we're done. We got to get out of here. So, Kelly, can you give out her email address?
Yes, our email address is modellerslife@gmail.com. That's modeler with one L like life, not two L's like Kelly.
Oh, okay. You didn't want to go with Undercliff?
No, I couldn't. I really couldn't come up with anything.
Why not?
Because I'm tired. Oh, I'm tired. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
You forgot you were tired?
Yeah, that's how tired I am.
Okay, you're using that reason.
Yes.
Have you ever been to what's your name? To Brad?
Yes. Have I ever been what?
To what is it? It's Permani Brothers or Permani?
Permani Brothers. Yes, you pronounced it right. Even
wow.
I always get in trouble because I say it Permonti Brothers and it's Permani. But yes, I have been there.
Yeah,
there's a whole chain of them now at different places in the state, but I've been to the original in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's Jim Sacco took me there once. Pretty good restaurant.
So that's a restaurant on the west side of Pittsburgh then.
Well, now there's a whole bunch of them.
It's the original was in the Strip District, which I guess that's on the west side of town, kind of, I believe.
The Strip District. How do you know? Why have you been there? Is there something you need to tell?
They have like they call it the Strip, but it's not what you're thinking, I don't think. But they have they have a great big farmers market along the main drag through the Strip District, all kind of good food and stuff for sale.
Yeah, actually, Jim Sacco told me about that.
Did he?
Yeah, we killed too much time. Okay, so if you didn't catch that email address, if you go to our website, amodellerslife.com, and click on the picture of the moderately agitated mailboy in a particularly agitated state, boom, the email address comes up for you automatically. Brad, can I ask you a question?
You sure can.
Have you ever wanted a T-shirt with a hot dog on it?
I want them all the time, yes.
Yeah, you seem to have a problem, actually. You've got a bit of a T-shirt with a hot dog on it fetish.
Yeah, that's not the only problem I have, but that's definitely one of them.
One of several, yeah. Well, if you go to Midwest Model Railroad, and their URL is midwestmodelrr.com, and scroll across the navigation bar to Other, and in the drop-down menu, you'll see an AML shop, and you go in there, and boom, you're in a wonderland of AML merchandise, hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, and in there you'll find a T-shirt with a hot dog on it.
Wonderful.
Which you've already had that experience.
Yes, but I can't stop.
Yeah, you just can't get enough of it.
No, I can't.
What else? Oh, yeah. And if you like this podcast, if you enjoy this podcast, which is on the Monday and it's the free channel, and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I wish there was twice as much podcasting a week. If you click on our Patreon link, for just a few cents a day, you can get twice as much podcasting a week for just a few cents a day. And on the Patreon channel, it's a little more laid back. It's a little more front porch. It's a little more Andy and Barney. It's a little more, we need a more modern, it's a little more Jerry and George. It's a little more
Kramer. Don't forget Kramer.
Yeah, Jerry, George, and Kramer. It's like being on the front porch with those guys. It's like if Kramer was on the podcast. And so you really, and if you go to the T-shirt level, for just a few cents more a day, you can be entered in the contest that's sweeping the globe. Hey, dude, where's my shirt? Because once a year, you get a special AML T-shirt that's only available to Patreon members. And if you're at the Springfield show and people see that you've got one of those shirts, you'll be turning heads.
They're always really nice shirts too.
Yeah, they're all quality. That's because Steve, the T-shirt guy, only gets quality T-shirts.
So no matter how long it takes it to get there, they're definitely worth the wait.
There you go. Excellent point. No matter how long. You're kind of mumbling there.
Sorry,
that's okay.
I was going to say that the quality is good. They have a real lasting quality.
Oh, a lasting quality. Yeah, actually, they do, don't they?
Wash them lots, and they actually they're like fine wine. They age really well.
Yeah, they do. They're It's quality stuff. It's quality crap that we send out to our Patreon members. And I think that's it. I think we covered everything, haven't we?
Except for Tony Dorsett won the Heisman Trophy in the year 1976. I just looked that up.
Oh, okay. Is that the year the Panthers won the national championship?
I believe so, yes.
What college do you cheer for? Penn State. You're a Penn State guy, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How many Penn State games have you been to over the years?
Oh, man, that's hard to say. Hundreds, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that hard?
Yeah, we used to go quite a bit.
Isn't it hard to get tickets?
Missy's one uncle had season tickets that he was having some health issues and didn't want to let the tickets go because once you lose your season tickets, it is hard to get them again. So he let us use them for a few seasons anyway. But I've been going to Penn State games ever since I could drive.
Okay. I think we're done. This has been 22 minutes on the wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
It doesn't take long, does it? We could do a show just the three of us for an hour and a half.
We have a lot of interesting stuff to say, and it's hard to do it quickly.
And we're not limited by script.
No. Although maybe this is all script. This particular wrap up was all scripted, and we did two or three read throughs.
I had to read my script on the train down today at the Reading and Northern as we were writing it, just to make sure I had it down.
There you go. Was it busy?
It wasn't too busy. We got there at 11, and it wasn't. But they run 3 trains out of there up into the Lehigh Gorge, and when we got back, it was really packed and busy. So the 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock trains, I'm sure. Yeah.
Aren't you going to be bored riding the RDC at Tomstock?
No way. I've never been on an RDC before.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy that. Watch the door handle.
Yeah.
They're expensive. You know how much it's going to cost us to rent this thing? $6,000.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. So you better enjoy it. If I see you for 1 second sleeping, I'll be all over you like a cheap suit on a hot day.
Is it going to be another throat punch?
Yeah.
Scott fell asleep.
Scott fell asleep. And I said that.
I do a lot of dumb stuff, but I'm not dumb enough to fall asleep in front of this crew.
Yeah, exactly. I was so tempted.
It must be catching because Lionel did it on the bus.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Brad, you can take us out on this one.
Subway chimes, go.
No, that's not it.
No.
Come on, man. You're like being a complete greenhorn.
Yeah.
This is an episode. This is a numbered episode.
Okay.
And the only thing that happens on a numbered episode, and has happened since the day we started, is at the end, we say, well, Brad, as the sun slowly sets over the back 40 and we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life, I guess there's nothing else left to do except for you to say,
Happy rails to you.
A Modeler's Life is sponsored by Big Ass Maine Potatoes. If you've got a Maine potato, you've got a big ass.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
I see what you did there. You hesitated just to let me screw up, didn't you?
He was testing you.
Yeah, I crashed and burned.
Man.
Yeah, you just blurted out that Subway Chimes Go like as if this was just another. It's like everything is planned out here.
I know. I can see it. I obviously didn't read the script enough down at Jim Thorpe today.
It's all very high end stuff here.